I could have put Fortnite, but now it's too late. I already hit okay. It says we are. It says we're live here. We'll just wait until a couple people hop on. I'm gonna try to go on my phone real quick and see. Yep, we. Says we got a couple people listening in already. It's just not popping up on here just yet. 3 people. We're gonna get going here in a minute. 6 people. Man, we might have to start right away here. 12 people. Cool. All right. Well,
okay.
I think we should get going here, Swaves. How about that?
That's fine. Let's do it.
All right. Well, we're here on Facebook Live with our first ever Facebook Live Royals chat of quarantine. Appreciate everyone for listening in. You can write your questions in as we're getting going here with forward Stephen Swavely. Stephen, it is April 28th. That's at least what my phone tells me. It's a Tuesday. And where do we find you on this wonderfully quarantined Tuesday at about 4 p.m.?
Same place I've been for the past month and a half, just in the apartment, not doing much, kicking the feet up, and just trying to enjoy the time off, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of feels like Groundhog Day. I was going out. I'm here with some family, walking one of the dogs today, and I was doing the same walk that I've probably done every morning for the last month, about a 30-minute loop, and it kind of feels like every day's the same, doesn't it, at this point?
Yeah, it does, but it's really nice. It's a nice day out, and I feel like we've had like 4 rainy days in a row to every one nice day, so you try to take advantage of the days you can get outside for a little bit, and whether that's walking or taking a jog, so it's pretty good. It's nice out today. Take advantage of that.
I was going to say, before we get into our season recap, have some fun. What's take us into a typical day in the past kind of 2 or 3 weeks when it's nice out, maybe?
When it's nice out, so usually I've been waking up around 9:30-ish. Get a coffee in me, make some breakfast, and then I literally sit on the couch until lunch. So I'll make some lunch, and then try to get some kind of workout in, whether that's running or jumping around somewhere, and then just kind of finding little activities like maybe like a puzzle or something like that. And I've been trying to expand my cooking skills over the past month and a half. So and then around 10:30 hop on the video games with a couple buddies and call it a night.
Yeah, Fortnite. We have a couple questions submitted.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, submitted by some of the boys, so we'll have some fun with that. It's good to. I mean, a 4th year with the Royals concluded. Obviously, the AHL hasn't officially made a decision yet. We know you're on an AHL deal with Lehigh Valley. Got 14 games up there with the Royals. 42 of the 60 games the Royals ended up playing. You're with Reading. Take us back a little bit, some perspective a month or 2 after it all ended. How'd you feel that your season wrapped up in the ECHL?
It's my situation. It's not really where I was at. It's just kind of just trying to have fun with every possible situation. But it was just this year was obviously tough because we had the feel in the room and with the team was that there was a real chance to make a far long push in the playoffs, and I don't think a month and a half later it's not any easier by any means. It'll never be, just because it's coulda, woulda, what would have happened if we were able to play. But we had a good team this year and a close group of guys, and it's just unfortunate that we couldn't see it through.
Yeah, that's one of the things that even, I was chatting with Kirk. We did the Instagram Live thing last week, and you can still see, whether it's him, we caught up with Corey Mackin last week, that, and even from the front office perspective, it almost still feels like, it feels like there's something just kind of left not finished, and it's unfortunate that we won't get to see it through. But, you obviously are being, from the area, from Reading, now living up in Allentown. What has been your perspective kind of on the last month and a half, things whether it's seen on social media, in person, about the way that this area has kind of been able to, come together and support each other during a tough time?
Yeah, I don't think anyone can predict something like this happening. So it's none of us have really dealt with anything like this in our lifetime. So just to, like for instance, the ECHL fund that's going on or whatever, just trying to, help everybody out in the best way they can and to make everyone's life easier during this difficult time. It's, like I said, we're in Allentown, so it's not like we're about an hour from Reading, and just up here we just see, it's you can't be together as friends and family, but you can do things for each other, whether that's Zoom meetings or just trying to take care of each other and family as best you can, not being like able to come in actual physical contact. So
getting back a little bit to this past season, and again, if people want to send in questions, already getting got a number of comments here already and a bunch of viewers, so anyone that wants to send in questions, we'll get them live right here streaming on Facebook, and we can go ahead and ask them. But I remember one of the things that defined this season, maybe one of the best games, was back on New Year's Eve, where that lucky fan had a chance to guess which Royals player would get a hat trick. And you scored a couple, and you were the one that he had selected, and the Royals got the big win. What do you remember about that game a few months later, almost getting a chance to win a car for the fan?
Well, I can remember that I was on the ice for about 2 minutes at one point. We got stuck in our defensive zone, and I think there was about a minute 15 left, and I had been on the ice for about 2 minutes, and I had nothing left. There was no way I was going to be able to get down the ice and back. And so I got off, and I don't know if it was just good timing or what, but I heard a loud boo in the arena. I'm like, okay, is something just happened, or am I getting booed for getting off the ice right now? But then I got back on, and I remember I got the puck, and I think it was below our goal line, and I just, I said, I'm just going to rip it. It was on my backhand, so I shot it down, and I think time ran out, and it would have went wide anyways. But it would have been nice getting that third for that fan to drive away in a car.
And I remember specifically, too, maybe a little bit, for your standards, maybe just a little bit of a slower start to the season. You got that first goal, I remember, on the New Year's Eve game, or not New Year's Eve, the Halloween game. So you're a big holiday guy, apparently, but last of the month kind of fan. But I remember you scored on the Halloween game, and I think we were talking to Garrett Mitchell or one of the guys, and they said, that was big for you. It kind of got your season on the right track. Had a couple call-ups, a little bit after that. If you remember kind of the beginning of the season, how do you feel that, your progress kind of grew and maybe built up to the point where you're getting some consistency up in Lehigh near the end of it?
Yeah, I think as an athlete, or in this case a hockey player, it's a lot of it's mental. If you don't have the confidence that you should playing night in, night out, it's harder to produce. And I think especially for a guy like me, where I'm always overthinking things and analyzing things, that if things aren't going my way for a certain period of time, I think it starts to get more mental for me. So to get that goal was big, and to try to carry that momentum into not the rest of the season, but the next week, the next couple games, and try to build every time you're on the ice was kind of my mindset with that.
You played 4 full seasons pro, AHL, ECHL combined, all with Lehigh Valley or Reading. You're 7th all-time in Royals history in points. You're 50-ish behind your buddy, good old Chris McCarthy, but you're certainly rising up the ranks. How does it feel to be 7th all-time, even just top 10 all-time for a team that you grew up watching and as a season ticket holder to growing up?
Yeah, I can't, it's hard to explain. I think who's the guy in front of me, you know his name?
Andrew Sauer was the one you passed. I think Brad Rooney's the next one that you got coming up.
I was told that Brad Rooney was 6th, and I just remember me and my family were big fans of his growing up, and he used to kind of be the guy that would get called up to the AHL as well, quite often. So, it's pretty cool to be in that company, and Chris has got a few on me, so I'll have to talk with him about that one. But it's pretty cool to be in that company with all those guys for sure.
Chris McCarthy was the subject of a few questions that we've received.
I'm sure he was.
Let's go into having some fun here with it. Okay. So I'm going to call this section Quarantine Go-Tos. So what's been your go-to breakfast during this time where we're really not allowed to be outside too much?
Never been a breakfast guy, but I guess I'd go with fruit smoothies and bacon.
Fruit smoothies and bacon. That's a good one. What's been like some of your go-to hobbies? I know you're kind of mentioning it, maybe like the board game thing. Would that be your go-to hobby right now? Puzzles?
Puzzles, card games, actually a lot of Jeopardy lately.
Okay.
And I guess video games would be, the top four.
Have there been any moments during this where you felt like you're losing your mind? Because I have one pretty significant one that just happened the other day where I realized, man, it's probably time for this thing to end.
Yeah, there's usually late in the afternoon when there's not much to do. Your workout's over, your breakfast and lunch are over, and there's nothing to do. Is usually when I feel like I'm losing it for sure.
Yeah, mine was so like there's a brand of coffee called Peet's, Peets, I think is what it is, and I saw it's like little K cup, and I was putting it in the Keurig, and I said, "Oh, for Pete's sake!" and like nobody was around me, and I think that moment I making a bad dad joke to myself at 8:30 in the morning was the moment I felt like I was losing it.
This is what I've been drinking. Give me a little
We're having a live show here. What do we got?
A little Starbucks iced coffee. Throw a little ice in there. Drink as much as you want. It's kind of been my go-to coffee in quarantine.
You getting those in mass, or what's the deal?
Yeah, you stock up on 2, 3 of them when you go to the grocery store. It lasts you the whole week, so it's in my go-to coffee.
Okay, what was this one? Okay, what's the best thing that you said you're working on your cooking? Best thing that you've cooked during quarantine?
That's the best tasting, or like the coolest food?
I mean, I hope they're one and the same, but not for everyone.
I've been trying to do some soups, some chicken noodles, some broccoli cheddar. But I would say my best meal I would make would be like a chicken parm.
That's a solid one. It's not as hard to make maybe, but if you make it right, it could be the best one, I would say.
Yes, I think it's the cheese choice is crucial.
Where do you sit on that?
What's that?
Where do you sit on it? I mean, like, what type of cheeses are you going for?
My preference with chicken parm is Munster cheese.
Ooh.
Like sliced Munster cheese, you melt that. But shredded mozzarella is pretty good. I'd say my last choice out of the three, like mozzarella, Munster, and the last one I would put on would be provolone.
That's a solid power ranking.
Yeah.
More active or less active? Have you been more active, getting more workouts in maybe than you even would without it? If it was just, typical kind of season had ended and it's maybe sort of the lead up to when you start building up for the next season?
I would say way less active.
Okay.
I mean, there's no gyms open, so all you have is running around for me. So I'm not a good runner, as I'm sure a lot of people watching this know. So way less active for me.
It's so impressive to me. I've been trying to run, but K-Mac's getting 40 miles a week, he says, on his legs.
40?
40.
I want proof.
Oh, I'm sure he is every day, 5 or 6. I mean, I've been trying to do 4, 5, but he's getting 5 or 6. That's a lot of pressure on it.
I can't even, like my running stride is so bad that I can run 2, 3 miles and my back feels like it's going to break. So then I got to stop.
Hockey players aren't big into running like that, right?
It looks like I'm waddling. It's not doesn't really running forward. I'm like going side to side as I'm going forward. So
kind of like a skating stride thing, or
I don't know if it's skating. It's just it doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right either. I'll tell you that.
Okay. I have some assorted questions. Eric writes in, "Hi, Steve," meaning Ellen writes in, "Hi, Steve." So you can go ahead and say hi to Eric at some point here.
Eric, can't wait for this one.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Eric's questions coming up. He was a prime contributor. There may have been some conspiring going on earlier. So
I'm sure Jason McDonald had something to do with these questions as well that Eric sent again.
Potentially. Okay, so let's go right ahead. This is the first Eric question.
Right.
It's just a yes. Pick one. Scratchies or Fortnite?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. I guess I guess I'll have to go Fortnite, but that's a good one.
So you're giving up, and when we say scratchies, I had to have him clarify because I heard this joke the entire season, but it was just always scratchy. So we're talking like scratch-off games, right?
Yeah, like you ever see Gus, the commercial?
Yeah.
That's my buddy, yeah.
So you're picking video game over scratch-off games?
Yeah, I'll pick, especially right now, I'll pick video games over scratch-offs any day in quarantine.
Because, I mean, I guess you'd have to go pick up, like, the piece of paper, too, so there's a little bit of inherent danger, whereas if...
Paper, oh, Dave, we got to get you a scratch-off ticket.
Okay.
It's like you take a coin, you scratch it off.
No, I know, but I'm saying because it's the piece of paper, like, you have to go buy them, so...
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so, like, if you have to go and interact with someone, that's actually kind of looked down a little bit right now.
Quarantine will definitely go with video games. Fortnite.
Average hours of Fortnite per day?
I would say average per day would be about 3.5.
Minutes?
Hours.
Yeah.
Usually all night. Usually nighttime hours.
Nighttime hours.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nod to – this is one I came up with. I asked Mackin, and he had a very passionate answer about it. And is the vegetable asparagus stuck up? Is it a stuck-up vegetable? Is it kind of like, ooh, asparagus versus like another vegetable?
I'm going to keep this one simple, and I'm going to say no. I like asparagus, so I'm going to stick up for it. And I'm just going to go no. I don't have a passionate answer with that.
What's more stuck up, steak and green beans or steak and asparagus? Now you see where I'm going with this.
Steak and green beans.
Are more stuck up. Okay, you're sticking to your guns.
Yeah.
Have you ever been kicked out of an Uber before?
Kicked out of an Uber? No.
What's your go-to meal? Like if you go home, you see some family, what do you want your family to make for dinner for you?
My mom and my sister make this great filet roast with this rice that has like water chestnuts and mushrooms in it, and then they'll usually make like asparagus and some crescent rolls. I'd say it would be my go-to.
What was your favorite elective when you were at Muhlenberg High School? Kind of a random question, but
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe favorite high school class.
Like college, I don't. High school, I don't think I'd remember.
What about college at University of Maine?
College, I took a obstacle course running course, and it was outside, and you do like zip lines, you do tightrope walking. You do all sorts of like outdoor activities, which is just kind of broke up your day, which is pretty fun. I aced it too, so it was great.
I would hope that you would be able to ace it. That would be more concerning if maybe you couldn't ace that course, especially as an athlete.
I'm actually kind of scared of heights, so the whole tightrope walking was a little difficult for me.
I would not even get on the thing. So you know what? I would have failed on the first day. So I agree with you. Heights are kind of.
Yeah, I don't like them. Maybe queasy.
Queasy Stevie.
There's another one. Add it to the list of games you guys have for me.
Oh, we're getting to that. Kevin Goomis wrote on Twitter, who is the real GOAT, meaning the greatest of all time in Fortnite? Would it be the video game Fortnite? Would it be you or Chris McCarthy, former Royal Chris McCarthy?
Wait, Kevin wants to know if it's me or Chris.
Who's better at Fortnite, you or Chris?
Well, I can tell you we went one-on-one one time, and I did win. So, but I think Kevin Goomis is by far he's the GOAT.
He's the real GOAT here.
He's the real GOAT, without question.
This is a one that I know you're going to say yes to. Mickey wrote in, do you remember playing, or what do you remember about playing for the Junior Royals?
I'm trying to think how long I played for the Junior Royals. It had to have been a bunch of years. We went to Nationals one year. I don't remember what year. Just kind of, when I was there were tons of teams. There were two to five to every level. So, that body zone was always completely packed with teams and your friends running around, and we would actually fill the Royals games up top. I think there used to be a big video board above where like the American and Canadian flag are. So we would fill a section up there, wear all of our jerseys or our tracksuits or something, and go to Royals games. That's what I would say I remember most.
K-Mac wrote in nerd, and he got 2 laughs. So K-Mac's he just wrote nerd with 6 exclamation points if I'm counting right here quickly.
He's talking about Fortnite, but this guy runs 40 miles a day. He's a nerd. 40 miles a week. I'm sorry.
40 miles a week. How many times has traffic driving from Allentown to Reading almost caused you to miss a morning skate?
I've never almost missed a morning skate late, many times.
Late.
It was. I'd say 90% of the time I would have Nick Luco's contact pulled up, about to call him, say, "Hey, I'm gonna be late, man. There's no way I'm making this." So it was hit or miss, but for morning skates was we had to be there earlier, so it was a little bit heavier traffic. So sometimes it would take me an hour and 20 minutes to get 24 miles.
All right, we're going to have rate from 1 to 10. So you just got to, rate things, get 10 being the highest, 1's the lowest.
Okay.
Rate the following from 1 to 10. The city of Orlando, Florida.
10.
The wide world of sports in Orlando, Florida.
I don't remember. I don't know if I've ever been there. 5.
Okay. Rate from 1 to 10, Jay Bird and Eric, our wonderful equipment staff.
Can I ask who wrote that?
Yeah. Either Bird or Eric wrote that in.
Well, they're a hard 10, but I give them a hard time sometimes to have fun with them, but 10 for sure.
Rank Frank DeChera as your road roommate.
I've had some good road roommates in my career. I would say Frank is a 5.5. And the reason I say that is because, A, he snores, keeps me up sometimes. He goes to bed at 10. But what gives him points is he'd be up right at like sun came up, and he'd be asking me if I wanted coffee or breakfast. So he gets points for that, but deducted for the snoring and early exit.
But I heard that, sometimes you might be the one that would maybe cause others to rate you drop in the rankings as well,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think Frank's a deep sleeper, so he didn't experience any of my sleepwalking or sleep talking. So, or not that I know of.
Compare and contrast. Frank is a road roommate versus Chris. Chris McCarthy used to be your road roommate.
Completely different guys. Me and Chris would stay up, till 1, 2 in the morning, but we also almost not get up in the morning. So I'll give Chris a 5.3 or Frank a 5.5.
I got a couple more fan questions coming in. We'll get to that, but continue the ranking 1 to 10. All right, what's this one? 1 to 10, just rating 1 to 10 night terrors. That one was also a write-in from a fan, we'll call it.
Like my night terrors?
Yeah, how would you, in the midst of a night terror, rate it 1 to 10?
I'm sorry, what do you want me to rank 1 to 10? Like how my night terror is?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
It depends. It's as simple as just waking up and just saying something dumb, or thinking I'm trapped and trying to punch the walls out. So it depends on the night, to be honest.
So we'll call it a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, we'll call it 2 out of 10. That's good.
All right, you get to pick one on this. Would you rather be able to fly, have super speed, or be invisible?
I would say the ability to fly. I'm kind of an impatient person, so just to get places quicker, I'd say would be ideal.
Especially if you have super speed, you still have to watch out for people then.
That's right. You could run into something flying. You're free to go.
Would you rather score an overtime goal or a hat trick goal?
Overtime goal. I've never had a hat trick in pro. I think they're extremely hard to come by, and I just think an overtime goal, there's no feeling I guess like an overtime goal. I'd say that'd be more thrilling than a hat trick.
Any particular ones come back to you, maybe even if it was in college or beforehand, even before pro, about a big overtime goal that you scored?
I don't have. I think my only two that I can remember in college or pro was, I think, in 1 year with Reading, I believe. It was actually, I think it was Kirk's first game he coached in I want Toledo. No, not Toledo. Norfolk.
Yeah.
The other one was at home. I don't remember which year though.
Dog or cat?
Dogs. Not a big cat fan. Big time dog fan though.
Any favorite breed? One that you grew up with, maybe? You ever grew up with a dog, or?
Yeah, my family grew up with miniature schnauzers. They like to bark. They don't get along with animals too well, but they're a fun dog to have around.
Iced coffee, hot coffee. What's the pick?
Iced coffee, all day.
Yeah, you're repping it. No hot coffee even during the winter. Got to be iced.
I drink hot coffee at the rink sometimes, but I just feel like hot coffee, you have like a 10-minute window to drink it, whether it's the perfect temperature to actually get the coffee in you. So iced coffee, you can kind of just sip on it and you kind of enjoy it more than hot coffee.
Eggs or toast? I know you said you're not a big breakfast guy, but if you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
Probably eggs, but I mean they go pretty well together. Yeah, not a big breakfast guy, but I'd go eggs with sriracha.
Let's see. Mason, age 9, to sort of split it up here. Mason wanted to know, what's your favorite sport besides hockey, if you had to pick one?
Definitely golf. Kind of picked that up in high school, and once I started playing, I enjoyed watching it. So golf would be number 2 for me, definitely.
So you're pretty pumped. I know Governor said I think it's this Friday, May 1st. I think that's Friday. I think all golf courses are back open in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and just in time for the weather to start getting nice, people can start getting on the course.
Yeah, just in time for a couple texts about a date at Heidelberg Country Club as well.
Right. That's right.
Would you rather pick an Adam Sandler movie or a Will Ferrell movie?
This is actually, you know how you said Corey was adamant about the asparagus question?
Yeah.
I would say 10 times out of 10, Adam Sandler. I would say that I watched most of Adam Sandler's movies, and he's my favorite actor, definitely, and just not. I don't want to say Will Ferrell's funny, but I think Adam Sandler wins that one by a long shot, in my opinion.
You have like a power ranking of his favorite movies. I could pull some up here if you wanted to go down the list, or
I could give you definitely top 3.
Go for your top 3. I want to hear it. 3, 2, 1.
In that order, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Yep. Starting at number 3.
Okay. Number 3 would be Billy Madison.
Okay.
Number 2 would be Happy Gilmore, and number 1 would be Longest Yard.
Longest Yard's your favorite Adam
Love
Sandler?
that movie. Love it. I've always have. So I can quote over half the movie. So it's always been. I would say that would be for comedies. That would be my favorite movie.
Did you see The Waterboy get snubbed on this list?
There's Big Daddy, Waterboy. There's so many. It's hard to pick from, but yeah, Waterboy is good too. 50
First Dates isn't bad. That's like a.
It's more of a serious movie, though, not so much of a comedy.
I really like Mr. Deeds. I think it's really ridiculous. It maybe doesn't stand up as well, but if you just put on the John McEnroe scene when like they do the fake TMZ, like the original Bad Boy of New York, and he just hops over the the cab or something, and he yells at the cab driver. That's a scene that'll get me going.
Mr. Deeds is a good one. I think one I haven't seen. I think he's in is he in Zoolander?
No. Will Ferrell's in Zoolander.
Or there's some movie that's kind of longer title. I have not seen Adam Sandler's, but yeah, the ones you listed are pretty good too.
A couple more here. Again, then we'll do a couple fan questions if we have some more written in. Pick one. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Always going mint chocolate chip?
Yeah. 9 times out of 10. Maybe I'll throw vanilla in there with sprinkles, but 9 times out of 10, mint chocolate chip.
Would you rather be at the beach or at a lake?
Beach. I think there's more to do it at beaches.
They're more versatile.
Yeah, more versatile.
Do you have a favorite shore spot?
Yeah, Ocean City, Maryland. Gone there with family and friends for as long as I can remember. So I get down there at least once or twice a summer.
Let's see, we got a couple. Ken wrote in about golf. He's been a part of our charity golf tournament. Ken wants to know what your hat trick is your handicap is on the golf course, I should say.
I've never kept an official handicap, but I would say between 10 and 12.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, 10 to 12 is probably realistic.
Danny Perez is 2 blocks away. So in lieu of that, I know he's not listening right now, but some of your favorite college teammates, who are some of your favorite guys playing with in college?
Danny Perez is definitely up there.
Yeah.
He's a clown is the best way I can describe it, but in a good way. I get along with my class very well. Just guys that we play against that maybe some people would know would be Connor Riley on Adirondack. Mm-hmm. We played against Will Merchant on Idaho. And then I guess the rest of my class would be Devin Shore, and he's, I think, Columbus now. Ben Hutton on the Kings, Ryan Lomberg on the Flames, and whatever their ECHL team is. And then we got a couple guys that don't play anymore. Might be missing one.
Had one other one here. How scary were you as the captain your senior year of the University of Maine?
How scary was I?
Yeah, 1 to 10. We'll go the 1 to 10.
20. I was the scariest guy you ever met. No, I don't have too many mean bones in my body, so I wasn't scared. It was more of a I guess a calm captain, I guess you could say.
A calm captain. A couple more. This will go back to maybe being a little bit more general. It's long off season. How are you think you're going to spend it here? Assuming things maybe start lightening up in a little bit. Any specific plans you got, or just kind of hanging in there, staying active, staying healthy?
Yeah, I got a few weddings to go to. Our brother's wedding is coming up, so we're throwing him a little bachelor party in a few months. So we're hoping we'll be able to do that if everything opens up. Other than weddings, just my typical summer working out and hitting the golf course as much as I can. It's usually how and the beach, I guess. It's just those are the couple things I do during my summers.
Swaves, this was fun. Thanks again for hopping on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, thanks again for everyone for listening in. For Stephen Swavely, thanks again to Swaves. We'll have a new podcast tomorrow, and Ryan Crothers is coming on, so that's what's coming up for the Royals. Oh, tomorrow, Stephen's seen the logo. He can't share it with us, but 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, the Royals will unveil their 20th anniversary season logo. So